The learning is Leilu Nishmat Rabbanit Shendel Bat Rav Chaim David B'ezrat Hashem, the mother of our dear friend Moshe Idil. If she raised the son like Moshe Idil in her lifetime, she had to have been a tzaddiket. I know her grandchildren too. Baruch Hashem. I know her husband. Baruch Hashem. Mamash, this woman must have been a failure. So may she have a big Elui Neshama. May it ascend higher and higher. And only good things for all of Mishpachat Shimon B'ezrat Hashem. B'siyata Dishmaya, we are in Chavurat Byam Darkecha. We are learning right now a brand new Sefer. Baruch Hashem. We are going to go into, at the advice of the Gaon and the Tzaddik, Bareinu v'Rabbeinu Rabbi Yitzchak Raphael Abu Chasera. Baruch Hashem, he gave us the idea to go into things that were connected to the Nefesh, things that were connected more to our inner world, and that were clarified by the Hasidic masters, and things that we can apply to our everyday to make ourselves feel in a better situation with ourselves, be at peace with ourselves. So B'ezrat Hashem, we're getting into the Sefer Byam Darkecha, Rachel and Leah. Rachel and Leah. We have an introduction that we have to go through. We can't obviously jump right in because we have to know what we're getting into. So B'ezrat Hashem, the book starts with an introduction. In this booklet, we came to open up a fundamental principle. She'ashlechotav nogaot lechol shitchei hachayim. That the outcome of understanding this fundamental principle affects every facet of life. Harbe simcha v'sipuk v'sheket nafshi, a lot of joy, of satisfaction, of inner sheket, of soul quietness, of tranquility, avodat Hashem, from a place of connection and inner connection, we can get by understanding this principle that we're going to be learning in Rachel Leah. A lot of pain and what's called ogmat nefesh, character defamation, and all different problems that a person can go through, the ups and downs, the downs mainly, all of that can be saved, or at least reduced, by knowing this principle. So too, a lot of friction and problems you could have, and misunderstandings and miscommunications between people, and mainly when it comes to education of the children and Shalom Bayit. All of that can be saved by understanding this principle. It's a very deep yesod. Chiluk yesodi v'shorshi. It's a understanding this difference between Rachel and Leah is one of the most fundamental root separations that we have in the world. These two types of souls in the holy nation of Am Yisrael. That every single one of them has a different makeup, has a different can you set up the live? Has every part of these souls, the Rachel side and the Leah side, has different extremes, right? One is on this side completely and one is on that side. I'm not even going to say it now, we're going to get into it, we're going to let the book introduce the idea to us in the right time. Every single one of them has completely different needs. That only once you receive in your nefesh what you need, then it will come to its proper satiation, its proper, not satiation, its satisfaction, its fulfillment that it needs in life. Only when, let's say, a person's a Rachel type of soul, or they're a Leah type of soul, the Rachel souls have certain needs. Until they don't get their needs met, they're not going to feel fulfillment. They're not going to feel good. We've put our head now into this big mountain. We know faithfully, loyally, that this, understanding this fundamental idea is a huge key for many of the people trying to serve Hashem. That by way of understanding it, you will understand Be'ezrat Hashem ma velama, what and why, what and why is going over you, is happening to you, going on inside your inner world. How to ascend on the mountain of Hashem, and mainly to get up and to reach the holiness of Hashem. Ki betoch ami anochi yoshevet. We're connected to the nation, the tzaddikim say. He says, I'm connected to the people, I know that there's something going on. I see many people serving Hashem. Mishtokikim la'alot ba'ar Hashem. They're yearning to ascend in the mountain of Hashem. Ele shomdim b'fneihem kshayim atzumim. But in front of them there's many hardships, there's many hard things that they're going through. Inside their soul. Aliyot, mordot, v'argashot. You go up, you go down, rebellions, emotions, until you don't understand what's going on inside of me. They haven't yet found the proper coach. They haven't found yet the proper path, the guide to help them. And B'ezrat Hashem, understanding this right now will help us. And B'ezrat Hashem, this idea is so fundamental, and whoever doesn't know it is losing a lot. Welcome, Rabbi David. Welcome. Someone get him a l'chaim. Sometimes you mamash lose your life. Sometimes a person can mamash lose their life. But when someone who understands it and knows it, he can then now navigate properly the way he behaves in life and the things that he's going through in life and the way to serve Hashem, and he can really start to really ascend on the ladder of Avodat Hashem, since he knows the path of the Avodah according to his soul's abilities, according to where he's rooted, of how he's meant to progress. A lot of times people see that they have a problem in Avodat Hashem, and you try to solve the problem, and you take advice, and you look in books, but you're not successful. And in your heart, you start to give up. You're, Ein ma lasot, there's nothing I can do here, I'm stuck. This is just the situation. And you're like taking back, my friends, they are successful, they're doing the right thing, they're making progress. You have to know, loyally know. There's nothing that you can't find a solution for in the Torah. You're going through it in life, the solution can be found in the Torah. But everybody has to go on the path that's fitting for their soul.
What if you're stuck at the level in Call of Duty? Then
you have to just get better, you have to practice. Or change your loadout, you know. If the rabbi or the sefer, the book, it's not on your path, don't be startled why you're not being successful trying to follow their advice. Tzaddikim, no problem, they're tzaddikim, but they're not in your path. Meaning, it's not about this path or that path of what we call paths in the world. All of us internally we have stuff that talks to us, and we have things that don't. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. I can connect to the thing. If you were to remove the author of the thing, would you connect to it? Right? Ask yourself that question. If the answer is yes, that's your path. Slowly or surely you start to figure out your path as well. And you can pull from anybody as long as it works in your path. It could be that one tzaddik, he has something that's not your path about him. Rav Itchamar just talked about this on Shabbat. That you have to connect to all the tzaddikim, but you have to mainly connect to the tzaddikim that you actually find a connection to. And the ones that you don't, you still have to connect to them there, but try to find something. Let's say if your path is love for every Jew and love for Hashem, the path of love, and you want to connect to a tzaddik who has ira. Within the ira, there's limitations of love there. There's still, go to him and connect to the part, find your way into him even though he's not on your path, by way of the point where you are connected, because every Jew has love, right? So you have to connect to everybody, but we have our paths. So if you want to be successful, you have to find what your path is, what connects to you, what's pushing you closer to Hashem. And even more so when you deal with other people, especially in education, in raising children. If you deal with them in a way that's not fitting for their soul, then you can do damage. You can already affect a person, especially if it's a kid, they're a sponge. You start to tell a kid that's really artistic to sit and do math, you are damaging them. It's going to stay with them forever. And sometimes, God forbid, it's a very grave danger. It's not a danger, it's a damage that's very, very intense. This is the idea that they have in the Haredi world. They say noshrim, people that are like falling off, right? Like hair falls out your hair falls out your head, right? Sometimes people like shed. So to say noshrim, this is this term that they use for kids that are like what we call going off the derech. A lot of them could have been Ovdei Hashem, real Ovdei Hashem, if it was just that they would be put in the right direction. If someone was talking to their nefesh, where are they rooted? What do they need to be doing to connect to Hashem? Therefore, we have an obligation as educators, as parents, as older siblings, right? And cousins of people in society that know Torah a little bit and we have to give it over. We have to understand and we have to strengthen our senses to understand this very well, this idea of Rachel and Leah, so that B'ezrat Hashem, we will be able to deal with every soul that's in front of us in the right way. And this is the second reason that we went so deep inside this idea. Because inside of this fundamental idea, there's the ability to open up an understanding between Jews. Because by way of knowing this fundamental idea, and even more by way of learning it, by knowing of it, but if you really understand it, everyone could understand his fellow Jew. You could understand the person in front of you with a loving heart, and you can act properly in front of the soul, in front of the nefesh of the person in front of you. Mainly, lechanech et hanav al pi darko be'emet, to really educate your son, your child, your student, your daughter, according to their path. Right? Shlomo HaMelech says, "Chanoch hanar al pi darko v'lo yazver." Right? If you educate the kid according to his path, he won't leave the path. Try to force him in a different way, most likely he'll leave the path. Right? Whoever understands and contemplates what's going on right now in the tzibur of Yirei Hashem, the people that are serving Hashem, the Haredi world, the Torah world, if you really contemplate, he says here, it's like you looking back at the words of the Chronicles. If you look at all the books of ethics and Musar and of all of the tribes of Israel, so too, if you look at the Gemara, you look at the Chazal, you look at Midrashim, you see huge chilukim, huge differences between different personalities, between different ideas and concepts, and sometimes it's mamash, they're the completely opposite idea, completely different idea. In the end of the book, there's a lot of these ideas. He takes us through different sugyot in the Gemara according to this rabbi, and he shows you this one's a Rachel, so that's why he talked that way, and this one's a Leah, so that's why he talked that way, right? So he's going to give us examples later when we get to the end. And even there, you see that what's the difference what's the machloket between these rabbis? Cain ve'Evel, Yosef and his brothers, Shaul and David, Yehuda and Ephraim, V'kach v'chol hadorot, all of the generations. Ad shiushlam inyan al yedei Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David. Until Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David unify the ideas. And there's many different tzaddikim that held that there are different people and the different ideas. Rabbi Nachman was among some tzaddikim that said it's unified idea. It's going to come as one. Right? So B'ezrat Hashem, either if they come separate or if they come as one, the completion of this fight between Cain and Abel from the beginning of time, between Rachel and Leah, between the sons of Rachel, the sons of Leah, all of these different ideas, it's only going to be completed in the end with the son of Yosef and the son of Yehuda. Right? B'ezrat Hashem, then we'll have Ichud Hashem, we'll have true oneness. And whoever merits to acquire this already now will see wonders at that time. All of the words we're going to be learning are coming from a very, very, very holy places, holy books, and they're mainly based off of the teachings of Rav Yitzchak Morgenstern, Likutei Yam HaChochma. And there it's much more deeper, obviously much more Kabbalistic, and here he brought it down for us. So we want to shorten this as much as possible, he says here, and you get deeper into the book. So התמקדנו רק ביסודות מצד אחד. On one side we're focusing here mainly on this learning of Rachel and Leah, on the yesodot, on the fundamental ideas, right? What's called an av, right? Not a toledah. We're here in the general idea, not in the finer details. But we're also going to be bringing up the ideas that are practical. So we're not going to go into the depth of the theory, but we're going to introduce the theory. What are we talking about? What is the definition of this world and this idea? And then we're going to give practical advice. So on one hand, yes, it's the fundamental ideas. On the other hand, we're also getting to everyday life. So therefore, even though we know, without a doubt, you're going to have questions, you're going to have comments, you're going to have things that you struggle with in this book in a few different ways. In this small kuntras, in this small book, you have to understand that this is what we can work with right now, right? But you can develop this yourself, I promise you. Hashem Yitbarach We trust in Him that Hashem will help us to understand the truth of what's coming out of this, that we ourselves will have purity in our hearts and our souls when we come to learn the Sefer, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives it to us as a gift, and our hope is to Hashem that we'll merit to get as deep as needed within this, and to take it to the rest of our life. And Hashem Yitbarach is where we put our hope, and it's where we're connected to, where we're praying to, that there shouldn't be a mistake by way of us learning these things, and the things will be received for benefit. To add more soldiers to the Avodat Hashem, everyone according to the path that he needs to be going into. That was the general introduction. We have to keep going. Obviously 15 minutes is not enough. Pticha, the opening, the Chaim guys. Two types of nishamot. There's differences between people in their teva, in their nature, right? In their midot, and they come from a difference in the root of the neshamot, or from the compilation of their finer elements. Omnam, right? Some people are more fire, some people are more earth, right? And then you add on top of that 5 levels of soul that are different souls. And it used to be that those souls would come down a complete package. Since the Arizal's generation, it comes down right, pizza with different toppings, as Rav Torjman says, right? That your nefesh comes from one past being, your neshama is from another, and your yechid is from a different thing. Why? We're in times for Mashiach. We need to get everything ready. Yalla, just send it down. So all of us are messed up, right? We all come down here with schizophrenia in our soul from birth, right? What happens? Mitoch kol hachilukim mityahed chiluk amok. Within all of the differences we can find in mankind between people, there's one that's very, very deep. V'hu sheyeshnam ba'olam bet sugei neshamot. In the world, there's 2 types of souls. Hanikrot belashon Arizal. In the words of the Arizal, they are called Rachel veLeah. Okay? What's the reason for these names? Before we go deeper, all the souls of Israel are nefesh Eloah mimamal mamash, a soul from Hashem, a piece of Hashem from up above mamash. Chelek mikneset Yisrael, a piece of the assembly of Israel. The Shechina Kedusha, our souls are from the Shechina. The idea of Shechina, the Holy Shechina, is a revelation of the reality of Hashem within the world. To reveal that Hashem Yitbarach dwells here in this world, and He is doing everything. He is acting and making everything happen. And this is the job and the purpose of every single nefesh of Israel. Every soul in Israel is coming to be a part of the Shekhinah, to reveal Hashem in the world. She chelek ma'ashchina, your soul, you're a part of the Shekhinah, and you have to reveal the reality of Hashem in the world. La'asot lo dira b'tachtonim, so that Hashem should have a dwelling place here in these lower realms. V'kol Yehudi mikabel kochot, every Jew is given the ability and the powers needed according to the fine definition of his job and how he's meant to reveal the Shekhinah. How is he meant to reveal Hashem in the world? Every one of us has a different job. It's all one job, but we have a different way of doing that job. Our job of every single soul of the nation of Israel is to be Or Lagoyim, right? A light upon the nations. What does that mean? What light? Not our light. We don't have light. Hashem's light, right? We're here to reveal Hashem's light in the world. That's all of our jobs. How to do it? Some of us teach, some of us make music, some of us make art, some of us do tech, some of us do security. We all do different things. It's all one job. Reveal Hashem in the world.
Some of us belong to terrorists.
There you go. The Shekhinah is called by the way of the name of our 2 holy mothers, Rachel and Leah. Like Avram Avinu is the vehicle for expression for the midah of chesed, of kindness, and Yitzchak is for the midah of gvura, of might, so too Rachel and Leah are the merkava for the Shekhinah Kedusha. And understand by this why the Gra, the Vilna Gaon, said, Ikar ashrat Shekhinah bezman hazeh bekever Rachel. The main dwelling of the Shekhinah in this time is at kever Rachel. That's what the Vilna Gaon used to hold. These women, by way of their righteousness, by way of their hard work, by way of their good actions that they had, they merited to be the highest revelation of the Shekhinah in this world. And therefore the Shekhinah is called on the names of these two mothers of ours, Rachel and Leah. Every soul of a Jew from Am Yisrael is a part of the Shekhinah. And then then obviously they have an alignment to the paths of Avodat Hashem of Rachel and Leah. If the Shekhinah is Rachel and Leah, then all of our souls come from there. Then it must be that we are made up of the paths of Rachel and Leah. These are two different types of revelation of Shekhinah in the world, that together they complete the intention of the Creator, blessed be He, that He should be recognized down here in this lower world. But the way they act and the way that they serve Hashem, the way that Rachel does it, the way that Leah does it, Bigilui Kavod Hashem Ba'olam, the way they reveal the honor of Hashem in the world, is very, very different. And every one of them acts in a completely different way. Be'ofen acher legamre, in a completely different fashion. V'zeh yotzer chiluk amok amok. This is what creates such a deep, deep difference between these neshamot, that they both have an inclination very strongly for Rachel, uven elu anotot leLeah. There's those that lean very hard to Rachel, and there's those that lean very hard to Leah. Where do we see this already, the expression of this? Yosef and his brothers. This continued every single generation, it's not stopping, until comes Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David, and then it will be they shall be unified as one in your hand, and then everything will be completed. Right? These two types of neshamot, nekudat ha'chaim shelahen, the point of vitality for them, the point of their life, hamatara shel ha'chaim, the goal of their life, tafkid ha'adam ba'olamo, the job of a person in his world, shoneh ve'af hafucha, is different, and it could even be the exact opposite. The way that Rachel does the job, the way that Leah does the job, not, for sure they're different, and it could even be that they're the exact opposite way that they have to serve Hashem. And that will be explained in the first chapter. This is the deepest rooted difference that we have in Am Yisrael, that we could be dealing with. Any type of machloket that you could think about in the world between two Jews, it comes back to Rachel and Leah. Where are you rooted in the Shekhinah? Where is your source? That's where it had to have come from. Meaning, it's not something individual that causes a certain midah or a behavior like this or the other. It created some kind of nature in me. I'm a Rachel, so I have this nature or the other. This is your inner motor. This is what moves you. This is what gets you going. This is what causes your nefesh to do anything. This is the job that you exist for. This is what you were brought into the world for. And since this idea touches everything in life, it's the cause of life, the cause of your existence, the reason that you're in the world, then all of your vitality of your nefesh is dependent on it. You existing in this world, you doing what you need to do, you having the ability to wake up in the morning, depends on understanding this. And then you understand how much this affects in life. There's nearly nothing that this doesn't affect, that it doesn't influence in your life. If that's the case, understanding this root idea of Rachel and Leah, understanding these two different types of souls, and the way that they get vitality, the way that they act in the world. This is a huge, powerful key that you could have in life. To understand yourself, to understand those around you. And specifically, you build an understanding between couples, between pairs, between a father and a son, between an educator and a student, that then you can able to bring into existence the pasuk and the advice of Shlomo Melech, Chanoch lenar al pi darko, educate the kid according to his path, not your path, his path, what works for his soul. Ki rak im adam molech al pi derech nafsho, only if a person goes according to the way of his nefesh, his soul, u chai bemet, only then is he called alive. then therefore, only if a person understands the form in which his soul acts, then he can understand of how to act in life without falling every 2 seconds, without tripping yourself up, because you don't even know what's going on inside yourself. On the idea of making peace between couples, there's a footnote. We already explained that the root of Rachel and Leah is the Shechina Kedusha, the Holy Shechina, but they separate in the way that they act in the world, in a fashion that one works according to his path, and he has to be completed from his friend's path. You have your path where you're normally rooted, and you need the other side to complete you, right? Let's bring it into our world: left brain, right brain, right? If you work on the left brain, you still need your right brain tools and capabilities, right? And you will only really become a master of your left brain if you start to use those tools, right? If you just stay over here, same thing here, right? A person that's a Rachel soul, they have to know that they're Rachel, but they have to be able to complete themselves from the other worlds. That's how you get to the goal of Mashiach, which is that they should be achadim beyadecha. They should be one in your hand. Therefore, it's very, very common that you find that the two people that make up a couple, everyone would be from a different root. One would be a Rachel and one would be a Leah. Even though the soul is one neshama, a couple is one neshama. From the Zohar Kadosh, even though it's one neshama, even that splits up into these two ideas to a certain level, because the jobs are to unify and to become complete. We see many times a person tries to change their partner, their spouse, all these different things that it doesn't fit how you would want your wife or your husband to be, so they try to change you. You're not successful in doing it. You can't change your wife, you can't change your husband. A lot of problems come out of this. But the person who knows that his couple, his wife, her husband is a different type of soul than me, that will help a lot. First things first, don't work and put in effort for nothing to change a person. Second, judge them favorably. You see something that's not fitting, it's not proper that your spouse did it, your couple did it, right? And again, he's talking here about Shalom Bayit, but really, because it is one soul, but the same thing can be applied to any relationship, right? You see something that's not fitting, you judge them favorably. 3, you know how to behave, you know how to treat them, meaning how to receive from him, how to give to them in a way that everything should come out in the proper way. V'yachadu, and there should be yichud, there should be oneness. And on the idea of to your son, to your children, every person according to his root, according to his place in the Holy Shechina, and according to his unique job of revealing the Shechina, so too is how his soul acts, if it's Rachel or it's Leah. It doesn't depend on your family. This is not a family thing. This is an individual soul thing. This is not that, I come from a family that everybody happens to be Rachel, so I'm going to be Rachel. No, it doesn't have to be that way. It's about you. Specifically now in this time that all of the souls are mixed up, so you find it in the world, that in every mishpacha, in every family, a father and his son will be, and his children will be two different types of neshamot, in an extreme way, he says here. Everyone according to what they have to do. Specifically that the connection between a father and son is this idea of what's called the levush, a garment, right? Something that covers my neshama. The father gives the son a garment, so to say. So this is how the Arizal explains it. But in the core of the neshama, it could be that mamash at the core of the neshama, it's not father and son. They're just two souls. The levush, the garment, yeah, you came out of him, you were his seed once, and you're going to look like him, and you're going to be like him. At the core of your neshama, not even related, nothing. It's just how the souls came down, right? So you don't have to feel like you're obligated to follow on your parents' path. You are you, and you have to do you. You have to figure out your own side of your neshama. B'ezrat Hashem, a little bit more, and we're going to finish the introduction with this. B'tzumat lev halomed, to the attention of the learner. Before we start to learn, we have to make a very, very important proclamation, declaration, statement. Right? We have to clarify something before we go in. Bekunsha zeh, in this booklet, Byam Darkecha, he's presented in front of us the paths of Rachel and Leah as two different types of neshamot. But we have to emphasize that the truth is that for sure, without a doubt, every single person in Am Yisrael has this and that. All of us have both sides of it, right? Like we said, we have to complete yourself with the other side. If you're completing yourself, meaning you're lacking it, you need the other side. And even more so, majority of people, they have both in an equal way, more or less. We're talking 40-50, right? 40-60, 45-55. Most people are somewhere in the middle. There are obviously the extremes, but most people are sometimes Rachel, sometimes Leah. They can go, they're pretty in there. Whoever has an equal balance, meaning not 50-50, but close to that range of Rachel and Leah, he doesn't struggle with this idea so much. Even though he, B'ezrat Hashem, will have a benefit out of this book, but Yehudim Rabim, many Jews, have this strong inclination to one of the sides, and this causes them to have very hard time to deal with the other side that is not maybe as dominant. For these precious Jews, we are sure with the mercy of Hashem, you'll have an immense benefit from understanding this idea. And this is the reason that right now, when we speak about Anshe Rachel, Anshe Leah, the people of Rachel, the people of Leah, why are we going to speak like that so much in this book? Very clear definitions. Because it's needed for all of them that are leaning more to one side or the other. Another reason is that by way of understanding these two sides separately in an extreme fashion, then we'll have a much more clarity what is the exact idea of each side. B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach, one footnote. Even though we all have an inclination to one midah or a different one, the main thing, the main avodah in any place is every single Jew is a merkava, is a vehicle of expression for all of the supernal midot, and you have to use all of them. You have to be tapped into your chesed, you have to be tapped into your gevura. So too here, we all are vehicles of expression for the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is Rachel and Leah. We all have it inside of us. In short, we didn't get into it, and he didn't say it so much. Rachel, Yosef, is the side of the dreamer, the side of the emotional one, the side of the artist, the side of the creator, the side of the person that's always looking at Hashem and not at himself, not at this world, always nullifying this world to tap into the light that comes from above. And the people of Leah are the side of Yehuda, the king, the ruler, the leader, the person that focuses on the process, the one that focuses on the nitty-gritty, the finer details of halacha, what we need to do here in this world, what is our job in the world that Hashem put us here, not from an improper way, but they're more focused on this side, they're more focused on that, right? On the revealed side, and Rachel are more focused on the concealed side and the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I promise you this book is a roller coaster of emotions. This is a therapeutic book. This is a validating book. This is a book that you're going to learn and you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to understand yourself. You're going to be able to heal traumas from when you were a child, to forgive that teacher, to forgive that parent, to forgive many people, to be maybe forgiving to yourself of how you treated yourself and who you surrounded yourself with and who you didn't, and what opportunities you maybe messed up because you didn't understand the other person that was in front of you and you didn't understand yourself enough to navigate these things. I promise you, because I've been through it, and I've seen many other people. I said this before we started recording it. Byam Darkecha, I've sent it out to dozens of people in English and in Hebrew, and the number one review, the number one feedback that I get is the words life-changing. There's many books that I've shared with people and they say great ideas, they gave me chizuk, they gave me emunah. This book, for whatever reason, more than 10 people have told me the words life-changing. So Be'ezrat Hashem, may that give us the chizuk that we need. The book is called Byam Darkecha Rachel or Leah. Anybody who's interested in getting a PDF version of this book, you can reach out to me. Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to make it available. And I think, you know what, right now I'm going to tell you the truth. We've been learning Byam Darkecha for 2 years. Byam Darkecha right now is looking for 60 people that will donate 100 shekel a month to their Beit Midrash. With all that we have going on here in Shari Yichud and all the money that we need to raise ourselves to make this program happen here in Shari Yichud, there's no Shari Yichud without Byam Darkecha. Not at all. Not at all. He's the one that brought the light of the tzaddik down to people like us that we can understand it and apply it. And I feel a big obligation. So I think what I'm going to start to do is all the access that I have to the video, to the stuff of Byam Darkecha, I'm going to make a small paywall, a few donations. Hopefully we raise this money. They will be happy receiving the donations. People will be getting their Torah and they won't be getting it for free. So when you invest in it, you feel like you actually get out of it. And Be'ezrat Hashem, again, may the shiur be Leilu Nishmat Rabbanit Shendel Bat Rav Chaim David, also for the success, lavdil, of all of the soldiers. May they, and all the pilots, and all the drone pilots, and all the mortar shooters, and all the tankists, and all the ship cannons. May every single person wearing tan with blue or olive green with yellow be successful in destroying our enemies and reconquering our land all the way to Beirut. It's ours. Much further than that. It's our land. Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael. Mamish. Soon Tzfat is going to be the center of Eretz Yisrael. Be'ezrat Hashem. We're going to have a whole. So, and may we be successful in destroying all of our enemies and their replacements. Amen. We can't say that one is better than the other, but
you're right. But Yaakov still represents Am Yisrael. He named Yisrael and he was attracted to one. Ooh. But the universe does not balance. Good question. Don't worry.
We're gonna. One second. So the question. One second, guys. The question. We're recording this. I'm going to attach it to. Right. The question was said. Yaakov. Right. Yaakov, who represents Am Yisrael. Israel. His name is Israel. Right. We're not saying one's better as one's worse, Rachel or Leah, but clearly the Torah tells us outright that Yaakov loved Rachel more than Leah. Right? That's the pshat understanding of that pasuk, and we can't move from pshat. So what's going on here? I'm skipping to the essence of the book, but we can say it already here, and we'll get into it deeper. Rachel, since it focuses on the light of Hashem, is for sure better. For sure, meaning more higher quality. Right, a finer light, the light of Hashem. With that said, because you need both, Rachel is the light. But if you don't have a kli, if you don't have a vessel, you don't have any light at all. So yes, Yaakov, the tzaddik, loves Rachel, meaning he loves the revelation of Hashem in the world. But if there's no side of Leah, then you don't have it. And you look at this, look at the family itself. Rachel brought how many kids to the world? 2. Who were they? 2 giant tzaddikim that were just light, non-stop dreams, prophecies. Benjamin never did a sin in his life. Crazy things. Who did Leah bring into the world? Majority of the tribes and all of those that made things happen. That really and even Yosef, when he did it, it was Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. It wasn't Malchut. It wasn't, you get me? So why could Yaakov love Rachel more? Because Rachel's the Ikar. But there is no Rachel at all without Leah. There is no light at all without Leah. And this is, people need to know, in Avodat Hashem, in service of Hashem, and in life in general. The emotional trips, the good vibes, the high lofty Shabbatot, and the holidays, and the Chaburas, and the Torah learning, and the Tefillah, all these experiences of spirituality, if you don't afterwards come down and do a little bit more Gashmi, a little bit more lower level thing, like learning an halacha, saying one parak of Tehillim, if you don't make a vessel, giving some tzedakah, do something to attain that light, it's going to leave you very soon. So if you ever experience a lofty experience in spirituality, sit down, learn 2 halachot. It could take you 1 minute. Learn 2 halachot with the intention of Hashem, whatever light you're going to allow me to keep on from that thing, here's my little box that I made for it. Right? Here's one parak of Tehillim, just so I can keep that amazing experience of Dveikut that I just had with you. Right? So that answers the question. Yes, we want the light of Hashem, but we are put in this world to make vessels to attain that, and that Hashem could be revealed here. And that's where it's about.
And just like you said, every Yid has both.
Every Yid has both,
and
exactly.
To evolve in both.
If you're learning a Kabbalah all day long, you'll soon understand that you have to learn Pshat. Right? You have to learn Halacha. You have to learn. And if you're learning Halacha all the time, it could be that you never think you have to learn Kabbalah, but really you do. We're going to learn much more about Rachel and Leah. There's many other things that we could say just off the bat here that we'll get deeper into. Leah, usually in any machloket in the world, Leah are the ones pursuing, the ones instigating, the ones chasing Rachel, trying to beat down Rachel. We learn this from the brothers, but we see this much later. Right? There's many different things, many different things. If you look at certain kehilot in Am Yisrael, Hasidim versus Litaim, Hasidim are the side of Rachel. The Lithuanians, the Litvaks would be the side of Leah. Sfardim and Ashkenazim, Sfardim would clearly be the side of Rachel. Ashkenazim would be the side of Leah. Obviously, again, we all have both, and they all interchange and they intertwine, right? But if you had to be general, like this book is, to general, in order to understand the differences, you could make these differences in your life as well and see the connections. So, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll go down this path. We'll learn. Go ahead.
Where is the source of this coming from? As in like Zohar? Like
Arizal, Zohar, Torah, Chumash, like we've just been talking, simple parsha.
Neshamot are based on this?
He said in the beginning of the book that all of our neshamot are part of the Shekhinah, and the Shekhinah, according to the Arizal, breaks down to Rachel and Leah.
Yeah, that's also based on.
The Shekhinah is the mother, Rachel and Leah. From that, he picked those two names. You see this idea in other tzaddikim, and they talk about Yosef and Yehuda. Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef. These are two things, but here he's going to go really extreme in order to break it down for us. Where everybody else, it's kind of like these titles or these names that we say. B'ezrat Hashem yitbarach.